in that video, you will notice that months prior to Ethan's ContextPuke, months prior to that, I addressed every single claim he made.
You didn't watch the video. How do you know that?
Do I have the capacity to...
You didn't watch the video.
Do I have the capacity to see the
where'd you get the
future?
list? Do someone send you a list of all my points?
How?
Why not just watch the video then? Why not just watch the video? It seems cowardly. You're like, I don't want to watch the video. Just send me a list of all the things. So I don't want to get my feelings hurt. And maybe he's making a good point.
You have, in the cringiest ways possible, considered yourself to be Kendrick Lamar in this beef, this one-sided beef that you created initially.
That's right.
That I didn't respond to until you tried to deplatform me and people who are pro-Palestine. Okay.
Who cannot? So by the way,
let me explain to you something.
Being pro-Palestine means you are infallible, can never be criticized. That's awesome logic. You want to talk about the content nuke, Hasan?
Responded to.
Hasan, you want to talk about the content nuke? Can you name one clip that was out of context? You call it the ContextPuke. Name one clip that was taken out of context. Go ahead.
Watch my video and you'll find out.
Name one.
Watch my video.
Go ahead. It's about me.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'll show you. Okay. So one of the best examples that we were initially going to get to, and then we went on a long drawn out sequence over
what's out of context
sexual assaults, is that one of the clips that you used, in your context nuke was the claim that I deny rapes happen. It was from
I showed evidence. That wasn't out of context. That was an opinion.
At the time, that thing that you clipped were me being like, rapes happening do not change the dynamic for me, which was about...
We talked about this, bro. Can we please talk about something else? It's exhausting.
That argument, quite literally,
why are we going over this again,
defending the likelihood of rapes happening, Ethan.
I want to
do
talk
you feel like that was an appropriate way to show that I was a rape denier?
Bro. It literally wasn't out of context. What else do you have? I showed...
Do you feel like... Wait, what do you mean? You can't just say that wasn't out of context.
How was it out of context? How was it out of context?
Because that was an argument that I was having with a chatter who was saying, why don't you deny that rapes have happened? And I was saying, there is a likelihood that they might have happened because rapes are actually commonplace. Sexual assault is commonplace in conflicts in general. So without evidence, I am not going to immediately dismiss these claims.
So here...
Do you feel like that was sufficient to show that I was actually that I was actually at that moment saying,
I think I showed sufficient evidence, yes. But the video's an hour and 40 minutes long. It's very long.
Wait,
that's one example. That's one small...
was out of context.
What else is out of context? Go on.
Okay, great. All right. Let me give you the master list, okay? If you want to watch the context of it, we can also go through these videos as well, or you can just take my word for it. Up to you. What do you want to do? You want to go through the videos one by one, or do you want to...
Give me examples that was out of context.
Okay. One of the other things that you've consistently done, aside from also the dude that you claimed was my fan, who now you admit wasn't my fan, that you falsely slept. You falsely said was my fan.
Jiminy fucking cricket.
Okay, was the usage of the term inbred. I use inbred as a what?
Because I have that. Because I knew you were going to do this, and I have the clip pulled. Let's play it. And then you can
play it. The Jewish KKK brigades out there, just a bunch of fucking inbred hicks. Imagine the most inbred white supremacist guy you can imagine, okay? Every week there was another fucking psychopathic settler, inbred fucking douchebag. Oh, these inbred fucking douchebags in the background, dude. A nation entirely comprised of messianic, inbred, ultra-orthodox psychopaths that these inbred don't understand. Educated, inbred, fundamentalist hicks.
Calling us in the middle of campus, calling us inbred, that we have no culture. One of them grabbed my friend's Israeli flag in the middle of campus, carried it to a mob by the gate that were communicating with the angry mobs outside of campus.
Untrained, inbred asses shipped into southern Lebanon, telling us that we are all inbred and that we have no culture.
You want to...
You gotta watch these clips too.
Inbred. Inbred.
Happy birthday from Hasan. The clips there, and that's not necessarily the algorithm.
Okay, so yeah, go ahead and defend your continual use of the word inbred to describe Jewish people. Go on.
Wait, do you think I'm describing all Jewish people as inbred? Is that what your assessment is here?
Microaggressions, my friend. We're pretending they don't exist.
Shut up, dude.
You continually refer to Jewish people as inbred.
You are such a pussy. Oh my god. Yeah, dude. I mean, of course I'm calling the fucking Kahanist Jewish supremacist settlers inbred. Why is it that you tried to defend the actual Kahanist settlers that were destroying humanitarian aid? When I was calling them fucking inbred, you were like, oh, why? They're just nice young Jewish boys, you said, when describing that fucking video.
Did you? So again, Hasan, you have a chronic problem with the truth. Here's what you're talking about.
Douchebags in the background,
these are just dudes. By the way, this is the difference between me and Hasan.
Clip again.
When I get criticized, I pull it up and I watch the fucking criticism. Hasan opens Comrade KC tweets and snark posts and reads their interpretation of my video. Talk about being a pussy. You need people to hold your hands.
Let's fucking be real here.
Yeah, I'm so scared of you. That's why I wanted to debate you.
And this is an ongoing joke with this community. These are just fucking benign dudes. Just I don't know what the fuck they're doing. It looks like they're doing charity or something. It looks like they've got water or boxes or something, like they're helping. And he's going, oh, look at these inbred fucks. It's like, bro, who are you? What are you? By the way, even if they're doing whatever bad, you're still calling Jewish people inbred repeatedly. You understand that, right? Rubs off on people.
They're fucking Nazis.
That doesn't make it any less anti.
They're participating single-handedly in a genocide.
Continually to Jewish people as inbred, bro. You don't think that can affect people?
I call all racist right-wing reactionaries inbred. It's one of the fucking terms that I can use that isn't like immediately slammed.
How about one that doesn't feed into like an anti-Semitic trope? Why did you laugh when that guy said that people were calling them inbred on campus? Why was that funny?
What do you mean? Because it's a fucking crybaby claiming that he was a victim of harassment.
He was walking through campus.
What?
He was walking through campus. How's he a crybaby?
No, he's a crybaby for going on Fox to be like, I was under attack. I was victimized once again.
What was the bully aspect?
What do you mean? To
be a crybaby, there needs to be a bully aspect. Where's the bully aspect?
Have you literally left your goddamn Bel Air mansion for a second and looked at the news? Do you know what's going on? An entire year of genocide side by side with people claiming that Jews are being victimized on college campuses has now led to the fucking Gestapo literally packing up pro-Palestinian student activists. You don't think that those fucking dipshits played a role in that on Fox News of all places? What the fuck is wrong with you? Of course you're not pro-Palestine. This is the reason why nobody thinks you're pro-Palestine, okay? Because you do this dumb shit. Because you can't fucking see the world outside of how you feel slighted by.
So you're saying people think I'm pro-Palestine because I don't like your repeated use of the word inbred against Jews?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you're running defense for Kahanists who are literally
I'm not defending them.
Nazis.
I'm attacking you. How is me saying why you are...
You are fucking crying about me calling Nazis inbred in the process of them destroying humanitarian aid, going into Gaza, and then you're going, they look like kind boys.
Yeah, I took it back immediately.
They look like nice boys that were just holding the humanitarian aid. How do you assume that people
I literally
won't see
took it back immediately.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I admit I was wrong and took it back immediately when I learned the context. Do you know how that works?
Oh my God, there's a lot more. Do you want to keep going?
Have you
piece by piece?
No, it's fucking boring.
Now it's boring.
Because because you're a chronic liar.
Well,
I went back.
Maybe I wasn't afraid of the context nuke. Okay,
I went back.
Maybe I wasn't afraid of it, but I was worried that you were going to fucking clip shit out of context and keep chirping to your audience and lie to them. And now you can't lie to them. And all of a sudden, lo and behold, half of the fucking shit that we've talked about, you backtracked on. Maybe that's the reason why people think you're fucking pro-Israel at a time when you say that they're doing a genocide.
You said that the Houthi Luffy was not a pirate.
He's not.
Or I'm sorry, not Houthi affiliated.
He's not. But even if he was, I wouldn't care. I hope you understand that.
Because that's rewriting history.
I'm gonna say this very clearly.
No. It's not that you cared. It's that you fucking glazed him up. I'm gonna say this very clearly to you right now. 10 toes down. Are you ready for this? Go ahead.
I believe what the Houthis are doing in terms of stopping Israel doing a genocide, to implement a blockade on the Red Sea is a good thing. 10 toes fucking down. They are on the morally right side. Don't you also think they're on the morally right side?
What have they done?
You're supposed to.
Hold on.
You're saying that it's a genocide.
What have they done?
What the fuck are they supposed to do?
They hijacked a boat that had nothing to do with Israel. Like fucking bravo.
That's not true. That's not true.
Really? What was that? What did it have to do with Israel?
It was literally owned by an Israeli.
It was partially owned. Is a big multi-conglomerate company that was partially owned by an Israeli.
Yes,
it was bound for fucking for Turkey from India.
What do you mean?
They kidnapped five totally unrelated Filipino fucking prisoners and kept them prisoners for a year.
In your fucking video, are you going to take that back too now? Now you admit that you were wrong on that
part too?
Take what
back? I didn't hear you.
Wow, what are we on? 4? 5? How many points have you actually backtracked
I don't know
what
I don't know what you're accusing me of. What was I wrong about?
You said in your video that it had nothing to do with Israel. You claimed that it wasn't owned by an
partially owned by an Israeli guy.
You were wrong.
Partially owned by an Israeli guy? It's British owned. It's owned by a British company.
It's an Israeli conglomerate.
It's owned by a British company.
Ship.
So it's owned by a British company.
You literally claimed that it was owned by Isle of Man. It was an Isle of Man ship.
It is.
Like you think all of these ships mysteriously are just owned by that, and it's not a fucking easy flag
how much of this?
to get.
How much of this? So if this Jewish or this Israeli guy
0.5.
If this Israeli guy, how much does he need to own of this business that owns this boat to justify? Is it 0.1? Is it 0.2? Is it 5%? How much?
I don't know, and I don't care because I think that even if they got some of the ships wrong, I still think they're on the right side. Don't you?
I mean, like, I agree with their...
I'm not even conceding on that front, by the way, because I do think that, once again, that was owned by an Israeli conglomerate.
No, it wasn't. That's an outright lie. You're lying. It's not owned by an Israeli conglomerate. You're fucking lying. That's an outright pathetic lie. And you're basically running defense for a terrorist organization. Now, do I defend what they do? I think what they're doing, their message is good. Their method is terrible.
Oh, wait, dude, let's ring up the fucking Al-Houthi family real quick. Tell us how you would stop a genocide when you're the poorest country.
Well, not hijacking an unaffiliated boat and kidnapping 15 fucking nationals and holding them for a year. How is that helping anyone?
Yeah, that's another thing that you actually got wrong, by the way, that even fucking Willie Sloptube called you out on. Those people... By the time you had released your ContextPuke, those people had been released.
It was, I remember. I said they were prisoners for a year. I know they were released. It literally happened like the day I was finishing the video.
It's just you couldn't.
They were held. Were they held prisoner for a year? Were they held prisoner for a year? Were they held prisoner for a year? Were they held prisoner for a year?
Yeah, they were.
That's what I said. Thank you.
Yeah, they were held hostage.
So how's that help Israel? Taking a bunch of Filipino fucking unaffiliated sailors hostage for a year.
Do you understand the concept of deterrence?
Well, how's it deter Israel? Kidnapping fucking
Do you understand the concept of deterrence? Yes.
How is that a deterrence?
It is a show of force to stop successfully, mind you, to stop other commercial shipping from going through. They literally bankrupted an entire Israeli port. I'd say that's numbers on the fucking board, baby. And like I said, 10 toes down, support that initiative. Because if you believe it's a genocide, what the fuck are they supposed to do? Should they allow their coastline to continue having commerce as though nothing is going on up there in Palestine, where Israel is doing a genocide in Palestine? How do you think the Yemeni population should have responded to the Israeli genocide? Should they have sat back and just let it happen?
Yemeni is not Houthi, by the way.
And also, they can't say, obviously, they fucking can't say from the river to the sea, Palestine, because that scares you, Ethan. So obviously, they can't do that either. So
scares. I mean, it doesn't. It's what Norman Finkelstein said.
How can people be pro-Palestine in a way that you think is appropriate?
Where your example is hijacking an unaffiliated ship and kidnapping 15 sailors?
It's not unaffiliated. But even if it was unaffiliated, as I've said already, if it was unaffiliated, that wasn't unaffiliated. You lied about that, and you recognize that you lied about that for the record. Okay. But if it was,
people can look into it.
It wasn't. Even if it.
Why did they didn't need to kidnap random people. That's like terrorist shit. Why are they kidnapping random unaffiliated sailors? How are you defending
Ethan,
that?
You're
defending them kidnapping these unrelated foreign sailors?
You know what's terrorist shit? Israel fucking blowing up a humanitarian aid
When did I defend that?
1,002. No, I'm not saying you're defending that. I'm just explaining to you what actual terrorism looks like.
Well, you are defending terrorism,
as of this conversation taking place.
You've done it many times during this conversation.
Literally drone striked a fucking humanitarian aid ship that was headed for Gaza off the coastline of Malta. That's real fucking terrorism. What the Houthis are doing, on the other hand, is resistance. And it's not only moral, but it's just.
Very good. You're right. You're so righteous.
If justice is served.
Do you think that the Filipino hostages who were held there for a year agree that that was an awesome, that was an awesome act of resistance?
Not.
Probably not. Right?
Probably not. Can you explain to me what you would do? What would you do?
I think, well, first of all, I think that there's something to be said for stopping the cargo in that strait, but they're doing it insanely fucking stupid. They're stopping unaffiliated ships and they're kidnapping unaffiliated people. How is that good? They're doing it bad.
It's not an unaffiliated ship, by the way. But even then,
you won't explain how it's affiliated. You said it's owned by an Israeli conglomerate. That is an outright lie. Hold on, you're doing disinformation right now. It was not owned by an Israeli conglomerate. You said that. Yes, it was a lie. Galaxy Leader is a vehicle carrier that was owned by a British company, operated by a company connected. It was connected. It wasn't even. He didn't even own it. It was connected to an Israeli businessman. It was it was co-owned by a business that this Israeli guy was involved in.
Yeah, co-owned by Abraham Ungar.
So what? You know his name.
What do you mean? It's co-owned by an Israeli. What are we talking about?
No, it's co-owned by a company that has an Israeli dude affiliated with it.
Well, you asked me how it's connected.
It's owned by a British company.
You asked me how it's connected. I'm telling you how it's connected.
Well, you're lying.
And now you don't like that connection.
You're lying. That's what I don't like.
What do you? I'm not lying. The ship info is readily available, Ethan.
Yeah, I agree. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter anyway. The problem for me, really, it doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Well,
okay,
so
that's
the
point number 5 that you also presented falsely on your ContextPuke.
The problem is more the kidnapped sailors. I just don't understand you can justify kidnapping a bunch of unaffiliated sailors.
I don't, Ethan.
You are. You go. Ethan, have you ever heard of deterrent?
Yeah, walk with me through this carefully.
Yeah, please explain to me how it's justifiable to kidnap 15 sailors.
What would you do? Ethan, what would you do? You have a better way to do it, I think. We're going to figure it out.
Well, like I said, you can do it without kidnapping unaffiliated, holding them for a year.
There were militancy, resistance, okay, that cut off supply lines, okay, supply lines for the Nazis, or even sometimes supply lines that actually impacted the civilians, okay, impact the civilians. Do you feel like that kind of resistance was unwarranted?
It's completely irrelevant. Why did they hold them for a year?
I don't know.
Okay, because they're terrorists.
What? Because they're terrorists?
Yeah, they're terrorists. They kidnap innocent civilians.
Are they? So
the Filipino guys?
The people that are resisting against the Israeli genocide that you call a genocide are actually terrorists because you don't agree with
kidnapping
their
innocents
fucking methods, but you have no way.
Kidnapping innocents.
No alternative. You have no alternative.
That's not true. I say just don't kidnap innocent people.
Nothing else.
It's easy. Just don't kidnap innocent people. They could have done that, right? They could have taken the boat. They could have commandeered the boat and not kidnapped people, right? Oh, is that possible?
Okay, fair. Do you think that warrants the standard of saying that one of the only groups that is doing militancy against and resisting against Israel's genocide, which they stopped, by the way. They literally stopped when Israel actually followed through on a ceasefire. If they were just, erroneously and randomly fucking trying to claim ships because they're pirates, they want to live the pirate life, then obviously they wouldn't have stopped doing that, don't you think? And they only started their blockade after Israel started starving Gaza again, and then
that's
also
great.
Turned
what does
around.
That have to do with innocent sailors?
Ethan, I don't think you want to go down this route.
I'm ready.
Kidnapping
what do you mean?
Innocent people is terrorism. Is Israel terrorist? Is the IDF terrorist?
I mean, you could characterize it that way.
Is the IDF terrorist?
I mean, it's an army, so it's a different thing. It's like
why is it a different thing? You think the Ansarullah movement doesn't have a standing army? They have an army.
The Houthis are to a hostile takeover of a portion of Yemen. They're at odds with the government. It's different. They also own slaves, by the way.
We're going to talk about the Ansarullah movement's history.
I'll say yeah. Israel, the IDF is terrorist. Yes, the IDF is terrorism.
Hold on. Talk to me about how the Ansarullah movement actually came to power without getting any notes from your Discord or anything like that. Explain to me the process in which Ansar Allah actually came to power.
I don't know.
What?
I do not know.
Oh, you don't know?
Yeah, you should try saying that sometimes.
Because in your video, you also used a lot of Saudi outlets to be like, these guys are actually doing slavery.
Give me one.
And it turned out that actually...
Give me the Saudi outlets.
The videos that you used did not even suggest that it was Ansar Allah that was doing slavery in the fucking poorest country on the planet. Okay?
The Houthis have slaves. That's not even contested.
They weren't the ones who were doing the slavery according to your own fucking video, but you still used it.
The Houthis have slaves,
Saudi propaganda papers that at a time when Saudi Arabia was doing a fucking genocide.
Having slaves and kidnapping innocents. It's just so unnecessary.
What are you talking about?
Just acknowledge that they do terrible shit.
The Saudi-backed government was the one that was actually doing slavery.
No, well, if they did, then the Houthis also have slaves. That's just a statement of fact.
No, the Houthis don't have shit. Okay, it's
they don't have shit. They don't have slaves. They don't even have slaves. They don't even have food. Like, what are you talking about?
That's not the point I'm making. They are the poorest country on the planet that just came out of a
and how's that blockade, by the way, helping the country?
Saudi Arabia.
How is the blockade helping the famine in Yemen? How's the blockade helping the famine in Yemen?
There is, as far as I understand, there's no longer a famine in Yemen. I'm talking about before, because you talked about how you were a regional expert.
What is blockading it doing for the poorest country on earth?
Ansar Allah and their violent takeover of Yemen. So I was like trying to figure out what you know about this. Maybe you know something that I don't know. So I was trying to pick your brain a little bit.
So explain to me why it matters.
It seems like you don't know shit.
Sure, I don't know about this specific thing. Tell me why it matters.
Why it matters? What their blockade?
Yeah. Clearly,
their blockade is. Their blockade is awesome.
Why it matters? How they came to power?
Oh, because you used Saudi newspapers in the time when Saudi Arabia, according to Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, all fucking NGOs, was doing a Western-backed blockade that was killing hundreds of thousands of people, and the headlines that you used in your ContextPuke were from Al Arabiya and numerous other outlets that had their own personal investment in vilifying the Ansar Allah movement. Having said that, of course, I also think that there are plenty to criticize about the Ansar Allah movement. I don't agree with everything that they're fucking doing, as I've said time and time again, like their banner, right? Their banner says first to Jews, which you also presented in your video, except... Remember when you talked about Norm Finkelstein and how Norm Finkelstein doesn't agree with From the River to the Sea, Palestine
agree with
will
kidnapping
be free?
Civilians.
Can we play the clip of Norm Finkelstein talking about the curse the Jews and what he thinks about that? Let's do that. Let's pull up the clip of Norm Finkelstein's thoughts.
How is that relevant?
These actions and the blockade against these.
How is that relevant?
You used him as a primary source earlier because you thought he's a reputable guy, which I think I agree.
He said something that I've said that I've been criticized for. And what does that have to do with every other take he's taken? It doesn't mean that I support that. Like we're aligned with every other take in the world.
Dan, can you play this clip real quick? Sorry, this is 50 seconds.
It's irrelevant.
I passed it along.
It's totally irrelevant.
What do you mean it's irrelevant?
Because who gives a fuck what he said about it?
Wait, what do you mean?
You want to talk about... Here, listen.
You use this perspective on From the River to the Sea to imply that he agrees with you.
He does.
I want to see if you agree with him on this. Just play it.
All right, I'll play it.
Thank you.
So here, I'm going to play it, okay? And then when this is done, let's move on to something I know we both want to talk about. You claimed... I'm going to play it. I just want to set this up. You claimed that the worst thing I said in the ContextPuke is that I wrongfully portrayed Jewish people fleeing from their countries, and I denied the Nakba somehow, which is crazy. So let's talk about that after this clip.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
And by the way, you're not going to scare us. You're not going to.
I'll just say up front, we can end on that point.
Oh, I can keep going all day
sure
if you want to.
Yeah, I know. I know you go to bed tonight in a cool race car bed, but I have family.
Okay,
kids.
No, that's fine. Why are you thinking about what my bedroom looks like? It's kind of weird, man.
Yeah. No, you're right. You fucking badass fucking sports car bed. It's a meme.
Very odd.
Here it is.
As long as the people in Gaza are subjected to a genocide, we won't stop. Do you know all the praise that's given to the Danish government because it helped evacuate Jews during World War II? But is there a case where a totally distant people did that for the people of Gaza? If I were to give a Nobel Peace Prize, I would divide it between three. South African delegation. Number two, those doctors who volunteered to go to Gaza, the Doctors Without Borders and others. One doctor, he was Palestinian. Why don't you leave? Because he had the option. He was able to go. He said, I didn't go to medical school for 30 years to abandon my people. He was killed. And the third, it's the Houthis. If genocide is the crime of crimes, the Houthis are the hero of heroes.
Yeah, I mean, the first two examples, I definitely agree. I think it's psychotic to give the Houthis a peace prize. That's nuts.
Why?
Because what the fuck have they done for peace other than kidnap innocent civilians? What have they done for their own populace? This is, as you said, the poorest country on earth.
Port. That is
what
a
are they doing
direct
for
material.
Peace?
The Houthis have.
What does this have to do with the river to the sea?
Material consequences for Israel as it has implemented a genocide.
All right, let's give them a peace prize. Whatever, I don't care. Let's give them a peace prize.
I think they deserve it.
Yes, absolutely, without a doubt.
Yeah. Wait, also,
don't ask the unaffiliated prisoners who were held for a year, though, if they do.
No, I don't. I think you're missing the broader point here. You're missing the forest for the trees.
Right.
Here, I'll give you a great example of this, by the way, because you spent a lot of time being like, the Houthis are bad. They're homophobic. I'm like, I'm sure they are. Holy shit. Also, Dan, it keeps switching back to me on my end. Sorry.
Let's talk about the issue of the Nakba and stuff.
Okay. Hold on. I know you keep saying, "Oh, it doesn't matter. This is boring." Whenever you come across a
it's irrelevant,
you have to admit
and you
is wrong.
just talk and talk and talk. It makes the video unwatchable.
You said the Houthis are barbaric. They're homophobic. They hate women. All this shit, right? And I'm sure a lot of that is correct. Of course it is. It is the fucking poorest nation on the planet, and all it is known is fucking death and destruction. This doesn't justify having that sort of opinion, of course, but it certainly understands, don't you think? Certainly is part of the point, part of the problem. And the best possible way to probably get them to have a civil rights movement to give gays rights would probably be to stop fucking bombing them, as Joe Biden did and as Donald Trump has done.
Yeah, that wasn't my chief criticism. Man, again, my criticism is that they are kidnapping civilians.
Yeah, I know. You don't like their methods, but you have no alternative method.
I said just do it without kidnapping civilians, dude. It's not rocket science.
Let's get back to the IDF. You said the IDF is maybe not a terror organization, but the IDF is a terror organization.
I didn't say that. Wrong.
Through and through.
Wrong. Again, a liar.
Okay, so you think the IDF is a terror organization?
I said yes.
You believe the IDF
I think it's fair to characterize them that way.
Okay. Your wife was in the IDF.
Yeah.
Do you believe your wife is a terrorist?
Of course not.
You have considered a 19-year-old Yemeni TikToker who is not even a part of the al-Houthi family with no Houthi affiliation, but simply a person that says he stands with the Houthis, and I do too, a terrorist over and over again because he has a gun in the second highest gun ownership density per capita. And because he responded to a fucking Instagram comment saying he's a soldier, a dude who doesn't even speak English.
Let's watch this.
You kept claiming that he was a terrorist over and over again.
He is.
His name is Rashid al-Haddad. He is not even a fucking Zaidi Shia. He's not even a part of the Houthi family.
Let's watch the evidence.
His last name would be al-Houthi, not al-Haddad. Okay?
Let's watch the evidence.
This person, you looked at a 19-year-old fucking teenager who's a TikToker.
Terrorist.
In the poorest country on the planet, who's only known death and destruction, and spent countless fucking hours looking through whatever his social media was to be like, this guy is bad.
Let's look at it.
Yeah, of course he's fucked up. He lives in goddamn Yemen.
Do you know what the bigotry of low expectations is?
Bel-Air like you, dumbass.
Do you know what the bigotry of low expectations is? You're saying because he's poor, he hates Jewish people? Let's watch. Ready?
No,
let me show you.
It's not because he's poor that he hates Jewish people. It's because he lives in fucking Yemen. And in that part of the world, the only thing that people see is the dangerous conflation of Zionism and Judaism.
I'm sure
the fighter jets that blow up their fucking schools have a Star of David next to them. And when the Palestinians are kidnapped, when they're fucking forced to go through military trial detention, they get fucking Stars of David carved on their heads. Israel is the one that dangerously and falsely claims to be the nation state of Jews. Israel is the one that makes everybody think that this action, all of the action, the genocide that you called a genocide is actually being done at the behest of Jews.
That's not true.
Of course, for everyone
Israel
in that
doesn't
side
claim
of the
they're
fucking
doing
world,
it on
when
behest
they
of
say
Jews.
Jew, it's interchangeable with Israel. Many of these people, including...
Do you think he's like Anne Frank?
What?
Do you think he's like Anne Frank?
Oh, of course, absolutely. He has withstood genocide. He has withstood genocide by the Saudi government. Of course I do. I think that talking to... But my point that I was fucking presenting, Anne Frank
is famous for being a pacifist and seeing the good in people despite a fucking Holocaust that took every member of her family but her dad. That's why she's inspiring. This guy went on Twitter and said, fuck Jewish people. Would you think
Anne Frank would be less inspiring if she somehow was able to get out
If she was like, I want to kill Germans and hang them? Yeah.
And took up arms against the Nazis? Would you say that Anne Frank is bad for that? Say Anne Frank is bad for that, Ethan.
For something that didn't happen?
Anne Frank would be bad if she took up arms against the violent Nazi occupation. Say it.
It wouldn't be the same, for sure.
It wouldn't be the same.
She's famous for being a pacifist and seeing the good in people despite living through a Holocaust. You understand that? That's not what... Let me show you.
Do you think that if Anne Frank... Do you think that if Anne Frank took up arms against the Nazi occupation,
Israel isn't occupying Yemen anyway?
What?
Israel's not occupying Yemen.
Israel isn't. But for every single country in this region, American imperialism is all
you say the
they
Saudis.
Have known.
You said this. Why don't they say death to Saudi Arabia on their flag? Why is it Jews? Why is it damn the Jews?
They're directly fighting Saudi Arabia.
Oh, but
what
I thought,
are you talking
you
about?
see the Star of David. Of course they hate Jews. What about their? Why does their flag say death to fucking Israel and damn the Jews?
Their flag says death to America, death to Israel, a curse upon the Jews.
Damn the Jews.
I have
curse
said
upon
time
the
and
Jews.
time again is kind of gauche, not acceptable, not
That's
appropriate
nice.
by Western standards. But if you listen
Why
to...
does it say
Norm
Saudi
has
Arabia?
a clip on that too. Norm has a clip on that too. Do you want to see?
No. Let me show you this because you've been going on and on.
Norm Finkelstein explain that?
No, I want to show you this. Okay, you've been talking and talking and talking and talking. Very good. Let's watch this.
Do you condemn the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, Ethan?
You got to stop.
Do you condemn the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising?
I'm going to play this video. Okay. He says, ready for maybe I read
sacrifice and eager for martyrdom. Maybe he's talking about football? Here he is singing a song with the words, do you threaten us with what we are waiting for, son of a Jew? Meaning of Houthi is a title, and it's not something to fear, but for the Jews. They are very afraid of this title. The execution we will carry out on all Zionists, with the lovely depiction of a man impaled through his asshole and out of his mouth with a pike, or how Hasan likes to say it, a pike for a cut. Okay, why would he retweet this article called Houthis use social media to boost global prominence and support? Israel falls. Wait for the new operation in Tel Aviv. The Jaffa drone, which no Israeli defense can stop. The ships we bombed and sank. I know the red arrow is supposed to be a cool military Hamas thing. This is a butt plug. Just saying. To every Zionist, I will put this into your stomach. And let me state the obvious. Jew and Zionist is clearly interchangeable to this guy. Okay, but hating Jews doesn't make you a Houthi. Are you a soldier? Yes. That seems pretty definitive. Why did he say yes to are you a soldier?
Bro, he doesn't even fucking speak English. You're like, oh, he's a soldier. Wait, even if he is, I'm going to ask you a question very clearly and very deliberately. If Anne Frank,
just like Anne Frank, by the way,
if Anne Frank if we had the internet during the time of the Holocaust and Anne Frank posted about this is what we're going to do to the Nazis, would your analysis of Anne Frank change even a little bit, even an iota?
Yes, of course it would, because she's famous for being a pacifist, not tweeting out death to all Zionists. She's famous for seeing the good in people, not fucking tweeting out that we want to nuke Israel. What do you mean?
That one, because I would not give a fuck. I would be loud and proud going, hey, that's what she said. That's what we're going to do to the Nazis. Fuck yeah, girl.
So after watching that compilation, you still agree that he's just like Anne Frank?
Did you not hear what I asked you?
I'm just summarizing.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Anne Frank died before she could resist. But if she did, I would never hold that against her.
She was fucking killed in a concentration camp, you psychopath.
But if she
was exterminated with her whole fucking family. Her dad's the only one that survived and recovered her journal. Are you fucking mad?
Either, Ethan, right? Would you hold that against her? Would you hold that against?
I wouldn't hold it against her, but she wouldn't be the same historical figure that said, despite my family being killed in concentration camp and everyone being murdered, I'm still a pacifist that sees the good in people. What the fuck what's so confusing about that? Not kill Zionists, not nuke Israel, not a pike through Zionist assholes.
I can't believe we're once again discussing the posts of a dude in Yemen.
You really like to do that.
19 fucking years old.
Well, you said he's not a Houthi. You mean you went on and on and on and on about how he's just some random fucking innocent kid that you platformed and glazed the fuck up, by the way. Which is, by the way, just terrible journalism. Like you have KFC in Yemen? Is that the fucking best question you have for someone who's apparently surviving a genocide in Yemen, who's been with the crew of kidnapped hostages, who has apparently partied with the captains? That wasn't even correct. You say, is there KFC in Yemen? Are you fucking kidding me? Just insane.
Here's some clips
but hold on, besides being like wrong, it's insanely incompetent.
We're going clip for clip. Can you please play this? It's from my subreddit.
Sure. Give me a sec. Dan's got to pass it to me. Okay, after this, please, we got to move on to the Nakba thing.
Yeah. Every single victim of Israeli or American violence has to be a pacifist.
Okay, do you want me to watch this? I mean, what the fuck, bro? It's 4 minutes, so I'm not going to watch the whole thing, but I'll watch like a minute or 2 minutes. Okay?
طبعا جاتني اسئله كثيره ماذا اذا اليهود قرروا ان يعودوا الى اليمن يعني بنسمح لهم ولا لا ولا طبعا طبيعي يعني احنا اليمنيين نمد ايدينا للسلام يعني اليمن مسموحه لاي شخص يعيش فيها.
This is like shot like by a fucking like propagandist. What are you talking about? Like he's all fucking dolled up. He's got makeup on. The lighting is perfect. Yeah, he's like, guys, please, we love the Jews. Give me a break. Our problem is not with the Jews,
like a
guys.
Big man, buddy, dunking on a fucking 19-year-old living in Yemen. You pick and choose what you think. You pick and choose what you think is appropriate.
Well, what do you think about all the shit I showed you? Which do you think he believes, this or that?
I think he believes both.
Oh.
This is not.
He both believes that Jews are our friends and also we need to murder them all. The problem is, he believes that Jews are our friends and we need to murder them all. Is that correct? Is that what you're saying?
No,
he said Jews. He, in the tweet, said this is what we're going to do to Jews.
From a Western perspective, for them, when they talk about Israel, they sometimes reflect
and that's the Jews' fault, right?
But listen to me.
And you're blaming the victim.
Because in that interview that I conducted with him, I asked him about how he felt about Jews, anti-Zionist Jews specifically.
I remember.
And he said he loves them.
That is such a lie. You're such a liar.
You don't know this person.
I watched it. That's not what he said, though.
He has no reason
He said if they support Palestine, then I like them.
He could be dead by now.
You're lying. You're just lying. You're lying about what he said. You're lying. I've seen that interview. You're lying. He didn't say that. He said if they support Palestine, then that's good. What? That's what he said. It's a fucking materially way different than I love Jews. What the fuck you said?
No, you didn't hear you just repeated what I said.
Go ahead. What'd you say?
I said love, but I think he didn't. I guess he didn't
say
love.
What did he say? Hold on a second.
Like.
What did you say he said?
I said that I don't care what anyone's background is. I love them. Jew, Christian, Muslim, doesn't matter. If you are against Israel, I love them. That's what I said. He has no problem with Jews who are pro-Palestine.
That's nowhere close to what you said.
Dude.
Well, you realize you were wrong. You got caught in a lie, so you're revising. It's fine. All right, let's move on to the Nakba thing.
Dude, I don't care.
We got to move on, bro.
Ethan, listen to my words very carefully. If he had told me, okay, I hate all Jews unconditionally, I am an anti-Semitic person.
He did tweet stuff like that.
The conversation would go very differently. But even then, I probably wouldn't be as vicious as you
literally said that on social media
or you want me to be. Because I understand the material conditions and what plays a role in people's recognition of the world.
Nobody needs to fear us but Jews, he said. I'm going to shove my gun and kill Jews.
What? No, he didn't say that.
I'll play it again. You want me to play it again?
Oh, God. Okay, dude. You just play the fucking clip then. God damn it. Just play the clip. He said Zionist, but play the fucking clip, Ethan.
Yeah. I'll play it.
Play the clip I sent you without fucking complaining. He's too dolled up.
Wait, you want me to watch your clip? I thought, no, we're going to watch my clip.
No, play the fucking clip I sent you.
By the way, is this, I don't know if this is, I don't know if this music's claimed, by the way. We can. It
doesn't.
It does matter, unfortunately. You're on Twitch where stealing content is fucking regular, but on YouTube there's standards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. God forbid someone might copy strike you. And then their lawyers might demand erroneous,
which you admitted is sometimes warranted. Where's the link
Mr. Fair Use? Mr. Fair Use.
Yeah, do you know what fair use is, you fucking moron? It's using it fairly. There's a big difference between...
No, I know. Fair use is when you get mad at Redditors criticizing you, so you fucking... you get
of course
your
I care about my monetization status.
Sue them and make demands about how they have to
fair use,
release information about their
let me play this for a minute and then we'll move on.
All right, play.
This is the most pathetic terrorist propaganda bullshit I have ever seen, and the fact that you actually think this is credible is so hilarious to me.
Dude,
wow. Let's keep it going.
Man,
no, I love this. This is great. Let him.
All right, just keep playing it. Keep playing it.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm trying. I don't know where the audio went. Oh, why? Was it... Sorry, hold on. We're having...
I pulled it back up.
Yeah.
Taylor Lorenz tweeted, "What's so crazy is that we tried to nab an interview with Rashad, the Yemeni teen who went viral for WAPO before Hasan the Hun got the scoop. Ethan continues to chastise Hasan for legitimate journalism and an interview that half the MSM was chasing."
Well, first of all, Taylor Lorenz is a fucking hack loser who's obsessed with you, okay? Of course she would say that. She, by the way, what was the legitimate... Name one question you asked him that represents legitimate journalism.
Okay.
One question.
Great question. What do you feel about anti-Zionist Jews leading many of the anti-Israel protests in the United States of America?
That's your most important journalistic question, which he basically said they're cool.
You asked me one. I gave you one.
I don't think that. I mean, I find that to be insignificant, especially considering his answer. No follow-up questions. Why don't you ask him if he? Why don't you ask a follow-up question like,
Ethan,
do you not care if they're Zionist Jews? That they're Israeli Jews that support you?
I don't give a fuck if he cares if there's Zionist Jews or not.
What about what do you think?
Jews,
what was the hard-hitting part about asking if he likes One Piece? Was that hard-hitting journalism?
No, it was called humanizing.
It was called cringe as fuck, glazing, pathetic.
Yeah, because you don't like when a fucking brown person gets a little bit of airspace.
Is that
and
right?
They look like a human being.
So you're resorting to calling me racist now. By the way, this dude's white as fuck. What are you talking about?
Ethan.
This dude's whiter than I am. What the fuck are you talking about,
let's get
dipshit?
Back to the IDF.
Hold on, you accuse me of being racist. Are you talking about this guy?
Terrorist organization.
Are you talking about this guy?
Your wife is a part of the IDF. Do you think it's appropriate to call your wife a terrorist?
I think you do. No, I don't.
You don't think it's appropriate?
No.
Okay. You have stated time and time again that you believe, to show how pro-Palestine you are, that you believe settlers are valid military targets.
Right.
Who do you think is protecting the settlers who you claim
the
are
IDF
valid
is
military
protecting
targets?
Them. It's fucking insane.
In the process,
it's horrible.
in the process
was
of
my
their
wife out there
pogroms that they're
protecting?
doing.
Sorry, was Ela out there protecting settlers?
No, she was doing a night raid, as a matter of fact, and I didn't know any of this until recently. For the record, until a couple months ago.
Yeah, you're gonna do the Raider of Ramallah snark bullshit. Go on. Yeah, your community doesn't harass anyone. She was 18 years old. She went on a ride along to Ramallah for some kind of fucking mission. She stayed in the car, and then they went back, and that's all that happened. She's 18 years old, bro. She's a secretary.
Of taking someone hostage, you called him it. By the way, that person was a Palestinian living in his own fucking home. And your wife
can they not commit crimes?
A raid to Ramallah, which you have called a terror city.
Yeah, that was an old clip. I don't think Ramallah's a terror city. Is your wife a valid military target in that process? Because you've said that settlers are valid military targets.
Do you think your wife is a valid military target? Do you think your wife is a terrorist?
She's not a West Bank settler. She's not a West Bank settler.
But she's in the West Bank. Where's Ramallah, Ethan?
Bad Empanada thinks she's valid. Your friends over at Second Thought think she's a valid target.
Do you think she's a valid military target?
Do you think she's a valid military target?
There's inconsistencies
Do you think she's a valid military target?
I do not, as a matter of fact. I don't. Okay.
Right. Can we please move on to this the Nakba thing?
No, listen to me.
Hasan, you're making this unwatchable.
Listen to me. Okay?
We got to move on.
How does this make sense in your mind? You say Israel is doing genocide. She has participated in the kidnapping of a Palestinian in the West Bank.
You don't know who was kidnapped and for what reason.
You say you hate the settlers.
Well, we don't know who was.
First of all, the settlers, Ethan. Your wife did.
Kidnapped. They arrested somebody. We don't know what happened or what they did. What if he fucking stabbed civilians? Doesn't that happen?
Do you understand the process in which how people are arrested in the West Bank, Ethan?
Do Palestinian terrorists never stab and blow up civilians?
They're placed under military detention. They are not actually placed. They do not go through a civil court process.
Do Palestinian terrorists ever commit violence violence on civilians that would warrant them being arrested?
They are not in the West Bank.
You don't know anything about this person or this raid.
In Ramallah, in Palestinian territory, your wife was an illegal occupier of a terrorist organization, also known as the Israeli Occupying Force, Ethan. Now, I know people that have also served in the Israeli Occupying Force, as a matter of fact. I've relied on breaking the silence.
By the way, her name is Hila. I don't know if you keep doing your wife. Why do you do that? Why do you keep referring to her as my wife? It's bizarre.
Okay, Hila, whatever, who cares?
It just belies some really bizarre
random shit.
It's not random at all. It says a lot.
Listen to my words. Listen to my words.
This is so
I have no issue with someone as long as they have recognized their mistakes, as long as they recognize that that was wrong. What I take issue with is consistently defending Israel. You have also participated in the defense of Israel. It makes no sense. You're inconsistent. You say it's a genocide, but people can't resist militarily. You say it's a genocide, but all of the people who are outspoken are vile anti-Semites.
Hila was doing
supposed to be able to resist against this genocide.
Hold the phone.
Do you actually think it's a genocide?
Hila was doing mandatory military service. What should she have done?
There's numerous options. One, religious exemption. Two, refusing to serve. But even then, I don't have a problem with her being socially conditioned into thinking that this is appropriate. I have a problem with what she's saying now. I have a problem with how she reflects on that and doesn't realize that that was an unjustifiable thing to do.
Okay, well, listen, you can talk to her, debate about it. I don't know what you're even referring to. Okay?
What?
I don't even know what the fuck you're referring to. You're just calling my wife a terrorist. Like, give me a break, dude.
No.
She did mandatory.
She has talked
Let me ask you a question.
Hassan, she's talked on your podcast about how she went on a raid.
You have to let me talk. The fact that you're just talking over me and being louder does not mean you're right. I promise.
What?
Being louder and talking more does not mean you're right, okay? It's good to listen to what I have to say. She's part of mandatory conscription.
Did Hila not volunteer? Did Hila not volunteer to go to the West Bank on a raid because she was bored? In Ramallah.
Yeah, she's 18. It's understandable. We don't know what that guy did, though. We don't know what the raid was for.
He could have been a vicious terrorist monster.
Yeah, what if he killed people? Of course. If he killed people, of course he would be worthy of being arrested.
Ethan, is Ramallah a part of Israeli territory?
I mean, it's complicated, right? It's under occupation. No, I don't think so, but it's under occupation, right?
Okay, so why was your wife in Ramallah?
Maybe getting a terrorist that killed civilians. She sat in a car.
It's not complicated.
She sat in a car and didn't even leave it and never did it again.
Your wife participated in an illegal raid according to international human rights. That is the reality. Now,
are you upset if this person killed like a child? Would you be upset if this person they arrested like stabbed people? Like you don't know what you're talking about.
If she were to talk about
okay, fine, my wife's a terrorist, bro. What the fuck? It's so boring.
No, stop. Listen to my words.
No, my wife is a terrorist.
How fucked up that is, as many former IDF vets have on breaking the silence. If she talked about the night raid that she participated in the same way that
just like Frogan says, I don't hate only the ones that regret it.
Talk about, I would have no issue with her.
Do you hope she gets PTSD
know why? Because I understand people can change.
I don't condone the raid, but I mean, see, neither of us have any information about like what actually happened. You know what I mean?
There is no. You don't understand. She is illegally there.
Okay.
She is not supposed to be there. It does not matter. Her and her entire brigade was not supposed to be there.
I don't think she knew what they were doing.
And as a matter of fact,
I don't think she knew what they were doing or where they were going.
What she participated in
I don't think she knew where they were going or what they were doing.
What she participated in is
she's
called
a terrorist,
bro.
Please, we got to move on. This is
the reason why the Israeli occupying force, participates in these night raids in the West Bank.
You're making this unwatchable.
Is to create a constant feeling of terror.
Talking more does not make you right. Okay. You got to understand
the reason why the Israeli occupying force participates in night raids is to create a constant sense of terror.
We don't condone it. She was 19. She was doing military conscription. She didn't know where they were going or what they were doing. Okay. Thank you. I'm listening, but you just keep repeating yourself. This is what you do.
The reason why
you got to move on.
I want to have the reason why I know that. Do you want to know why I know that?
Do you want this to be unwatchable? Is that what you want?
What?
Do you want this to be unwatchable?
The reason why I know that, Ethan, is
take that as a yes.
Breaking the silence veterans who have come out and spoken out against this practice. That's why I know that.
Hasan, You say that Hila could have gone to jail and done a conscientious objection instead of joining the army. Why do you pay taxes?
What?
Why do you pay taxes to the United States government?
This is your big argument, Ethan?
Answer the question.
That I pay taxes and I'm morally culpable? I know. That's why I try to fucking
fight
against this goddamn government doing this shit every day.
Hold on. Why don't you stand up for your principles and go to jail for it?
Because it would not actually stop, okay? It would not actually stop. The reason why I'm saying...
What wouldn't stop?
I don't take issue with Hila's fucking actions then, as long as, just like you said, she was just 19 years old. I take issue with the fact that she still defends it on principle.
What did she
says
say?
The Israeli occupying force is not a terror organization. You have a disagreement with him.
Well, I think I can see it from her perspective too, which is like, the problem with you is that everything's black and white.
You can't see it from Rashid al-Haddad's perspective.
Yeah,
and
he's a fucking terrorist who says he wants to kill Jews.
Also doesn't see
that you said like Anne Frank.
That's why you can fucking constantly claim that he is a terrorist.
Oh my God, bro! Please, I want this to be watchable. Okay, let's move on, please.